Let's quickly do Happy Death Day to You. Did you see Happy Death Day?
I did not.
Okay, so it was
Fill me in.
Happy Death Day was Groundhog Day meets Scream.
Okay.
That is literally what it was. So somebody wakes up, it's their birthday, and then during the course of their birthday, they get stalked and killed, and then when they die, they wake up and it's their birthday again. They have to go through, and what they have to do is to figure out who's doing it and blah, 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 and break the thing. And it was kind of entertaining. So after that, we now have Happy Death Day to You, which is the
Prince spelling.
Yeah, exactly, the Prince spelling. That hadn't even occurred to me. So there was an interview on Radio 5, I think it was on Radio 5, in which somebody said to...
Is that 5 Live?
Radio 5 Live.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Somebody said to Spike Lee, and Colin said, Spike Lee, if you get on the Oscars stage, will you be political? And he said, is Prince purple? Is James Brown? Is Barry White? I thought that was
that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyway, so Happy Death Day to You, which, like 22 Jump Street, kind of makes a mocking virtue of the fact that it's doing the same thing again. I mean, what happens is that a bunch of sort of nerdy college students have accidentally built a dimension-splitting time machine, which is the thing that causes this loop to happen. And suddenly Tree, who is our heroine, finds herself having solved the problem in the first film, waking up once again on her birthday and having to go through the whole thing all over again. And the only way that she can get out of it is to get all the nerdy science people together to figure out how to undo the loop that they've created with their machine. Here's a clip.
Oh, God. Danielle, hi.
Where were you?
What do you mean?
You ditched our house meeting?
It was canceled.
When?
After I kicked my murdering roommate out of a window.
Exactly. Who's gonna pledge Kappa now that we have a death curse? We're in crisis mode, Tree. Ew. Who are these people? Call me as soon as you're done with your creepy little Comic-Con meeting.
So, here's the thing. I really enjoyed Happy Death Day, the first one, not least because it reminded me of sort of a bunch of old knowing slasher movies that I liked before. In the case of this, it's much more knowingly comedic and much less horror-y. So rather than it being Groundhog Day meets Scream, it's kind of much more Revenge of the Nerds meets Back to the Future on a much sort of smaller scale. Right. And there is definitely the feeling that, okay, we've done this and now we're going back and we're doing it again. There's the whole joke in 22 Jump Street about we're going to do it exactly this. Do you remember all that? Exactly the same as before. But it makes the joke about doing exactly the same as before whilst going off into slightly more bonkers multiple worlds and multiple realities, but whilst essentially doing the same riff over and over again. It is played more for laughs, although the first one was satirical and was kind of tongue-in-cheek. And while it doesn't have the kind of cutting edge that the first one had, it was perfectly fine. Again, I had gone in thinking, I'm not entirely sure that I wanted a sequel to this because the first one was much more fun than I thought it was going to be. But actually, it was playful enough that I thought it was fine. There's a kind of postscript payoff at the end that I absolutely could have lived with. It seemed like completely pointless, which just made me think, okay, and now we're done. And now,
right.
And now,
after the credits, in the credits,
yeah, sort of with it. It's
okay.
You postscript. That's what you call it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing.
PS.
Yeah. But I could have done without the PS. But for the bit before the PS, it was, well, you know what? It's kind of fun in a totally throwaway, totally disposable. You could pretty much, you could see the first film and you could see the second film. You could almost watch them back to back and almost think that it's the same film, except for the fact that it's more obviously gaggy than the first film was.
Fair enough.